So we can run the software, which is Fluke Power Analyze. This software is included on the USB memory stick, which is included in the package with the instrument. Before we run the software, because we're going to have to connect to it, we'll just check which port we're assigned to. Currently, there's no port assigned to it, and that's because I haven't got the instrument plugged in. If you have a lot of devices plugged in, then a lot of COM ports will be taken up. In this case, I know that the next one that appears in the list is going to be the one which matters. So this is COM port 3. So now I'll go back to the Power Analyze software, and I can go to Remote and Connect. And in here I'm connected via USB. Here I can choose the port I'm connected to. The baud rate is selected as 921/600. That's the fastest it can get. That's what it should be. And it has end of line characters, carries return line feed, which is again correct for this setup. That has to align with what's the serial port setting in the device manager, which is this is the default anyway. So we connect to the instrument now, and you'll see that it goes through this list of things that it's done. And in effect, this is now become our control panel or controls for the instrument. The instrument goes into a mode where it will just indicate that you need to go to local. So you don't have any control of the instrument when this is running. So here are the settings. If we go to the preview of the device, we can select from the list here of the measurements that we want to make. So we'll say those three are 3 voltages, and we'll do the same for the fundamental voltages. We also have a list here, and you see the whole list of devices, measurements that you have available. There's a lot of them. Here we have a tab to go to the next section, which is to go to the current section effectively, and we'll just select one IRMS. I've only got one current probe connected here, so that's okay. So now I'll go OK, and here we see the readings, and it's that simple. If I wanted to capture the screen, I could just say print screen, and now that's captured the screen capture to the directory Fluke data, Fluke Power Analyze software screen 479200, and this is the serial number of the device. And if I open that directory after this, so I just open the directory, we see in the directory that we have a file here. And if we look at the file, it's just a PNG file, that's a graphics file. Pops over to the other screen, so I'll just drag that across, and you can see it looks exactly the same as what we just saw on screen a moment ago. So that's screen saving, really simple. So go back to the main software now, just close that down, get rid of that, and now we're back on this screen. So one of the functions we have here is that we can go to the scope mode here, so we see the scope, you see the waveforms. Here we have different waveform shapes because we have different scaling here set. Let's just see whether that changes when we do auto. Yeah, so on auto, it's now returned to give us waveforms which are all the same shape. On here, we can add cursors. So we add cursors to whichever channel we want. So 1, 2, or 3 for voltage, the measurements that we have. We'll just leave that on 2 for now. And we click on the cursor, and now we'll see at the cursor, we'll get either dual verticals like this, or we can have a single vertical. You can just drag it along, and this gives you the minimum maximum at that point, and also gives you what the average is here as well for that point in time. So very simple. Just use it a couple of times, and you'll kind of get the idea of how it all works. Other things we have, of course, are the trend. Again, very simple. We just select which items we want to trend. Let's do OK, and now we'll start trending in a moment. We'll just let's see. We do this automatically and refresh, and we'll get a trend after a little while. Then we have the phasor diagram. So here we show voltage and currents. We see that we only have one current connected on here, and it's pretty low current. but you'll see that it looks like a standard phasor diagram. And then similarly with harmonics, you can choose the type of harmonics that you have. So you go to the list, we'll choose U1 and choose use one. You can just have one at a time, and then we get the readings here, and we can see what it looks like. We can choose either the histogram or a table. You see that in the table we'll get some values in a moment, or we can also choose the FFT. Here we get the FFT mode, which you'll see on the instrument. So this is going from 0 to 20 kilohertz. So we just have this peak here, which is the fundamental in this case, and then we'll have some other items here. You see little values bubbling along the bottom. We can also put this into a logarithmic mode so we can see that more clearly. So here we see the fall off of harmonics, very low harmonics, but gives us some ideas about what to do. So very straightforward. Here we have in the 4 kilohertz value. So we change frequency to zoom in if you like, so we can see more clearly each of the harmonics. So that's just displaying information. When it comes to setup, we can go to the configuration, and here are all the settings that we have inside the instrument. So we do this per channel. So we have per channel 1 voltage range, ratio we can input here. We can put in whether we have a voltage line filter, 650 or 10 kilohertz. That depends on the kinds of measurements you're making. You got the current line filter as well. You can go to each of the channels independently. So for example, if you have 3 ACs and a DC, you can do that. Then we have the motor setup. So this is everything that you'll see on the instrument, and then the wiring diagram, that is how we're connected. In this case, we just have a single phase connection. You'll see these diagrams in the manual as well, and you can choose where you want to synchronize from, whether you want to synchronize from current or voltage or which channel. And if you have a split like this one where you've got 3-phase 4-wire and then you've got an independent channel on the end, you can choose 2 synchronization points. So if one of them is DC, for example, you can choose DC from here as well. Once you've made your choices, you just write to instrument with those changes. Here we can also zero off if we're doing just checking the calibration. We also have a basic collection of methods of formulating the HFF, which is the crest factor and the voltage factor for harmonics in here, which is specifically related to motors. So just go back to range. So you can see that we have all the settings that you'd have in the instrument. So that's more or less it. There is some additional information like what the instrument is that you've got connected. Also, if you go into a 2-machine formulation, so in this you would have 2 machines connected simultaneously. So you have 2 Normas, and you can synchronize them together so that you can expand up to 8 channels. So that's a very quick introduction to the software. It's very simple to use. Playing around with it is probably the easiest way to learn about it.